Welcome to the Social University podcast. We are so glad you're joining us today because we want to help business owners, entrepreneurs, and people just like you who want to build their business online. Listen, if we can do it, you can do it. So let's go.
Good morning. I'm Karen Terradas with Social U, and with me today is Lisa Schuck, marketing expert and strategist. She is one of the very valuable vendor friend that we work with constantly. She does almost all of our strategic planning for marketing, does great research, does great analysis. She's been in this business for a couple of decades now, so she definitely knows what she's doing. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Karen.
And today we are going to talk about basically marketing information for small business owners and what can help move you forward. So let's go ahead and get started. Lisa, is there anything you want to add before we get started?
No, I think you've said enough. I do want to say this is also for one-person marketing departments. Because I was that person, right? An overwhelmed marketing manager or marketing director of like, oh my God, I have so much to do. What do I do? Yeah. So I think this would be helpful for them as well.
Okay, very good. All right, well, let's jump in. First and foremost, what is the most cost-effective strategy for small business?
I'm going to laugh at this because the most cost-effective strategy for small business is to actually have a strategy. Most small businesses and overwhelmed marketing managers and directors that I know a lot of times are really just throwing spaghetti up against the wall to see what sticks. Yeah. Whereas it's been demonstrated statistically that small business owners and marketers that actually have a strategy and a plan are 313%, yes, you heard that correctly, wow, more likely to achieve their marketing goals. It's amazing. Wow. And when I say strategy, I just want to espouse on that for just a second. Okay. You got to have an overarching strategy. So for example, your strategy could be attract your ideal target audience through multi-channel opportunities, right? That's a strategy. And then you have a goal to go with that strategy. And the goal might be to increase your ideal target customer leads by 10%. Sure. That's your goal. It's smart, right? It's measurable, right? Then you have objectives. How are you going to do that? Well, you could use account-based marketing. You can leverage social media, and you can clarify your messaging on your website. Then you assign the tactical plans, which is what we all start with, right? We start with, I'm going to post on social media 5 days a week. I'm going to do a blog every week. And all of those plans tend to fall by the wayside because there's no end goal that goes with it, right? Yeah. So, but if you start with the strategy and then you go into the tactics, it's much easier to achieve it, to figure out what resources you need, and to make it more cohesive and comprehensive.
Well, you have to have a target to hit.
Yes, or else again, you're throwing spaghetti up against the wall to see what sticks.
Yeah, I've joked around before. You would never just get in a car and drive around and say, let's just see where there are restaurants. You pick before you leave. And something you said that I want to touch on real quickly, clarifying the messaging on the website. I cannot tell you how often we will work with a company or talk to a company, and it's very clear messaging for them. It's their company. They know exactly what it means, but it is insanely unclear to the rest of the world.
So I use Donald Miller's story brand, which his famous tagline is, if you confuse, you lose. Yeah. And what I tell companies is your website has to pass what's called the grunt test, which means within 3 seconds of someone coming to your website, they need to know what you do, who you do it for, and how they can do it with you. Like, that means you can't be this esoteric we fulfill big dreams kind of header on your website, right?
Cutting edge technology.
Yes. What exactly? That does not make sense. You need to say things like, we design, build, and maintain custom software applications.
There you go.
I know exactly what you do, right?
Yeah.
So that's key. That's very key.
Nobody wants to hear their baby's ugly.
Oh, I'm happy to tell them. Anybody out there want me to go review your website real quick and give you like the top 5 things to do to fix it? You just hit me up. I'll be happy to do that. And if your baby's ugly, I'm going to tell you.
I'm going to tell you. Okay. Okay. So how can I identify? Okay. Now we know that we have to have this target, which, I mean, it sounds so simple, but we know it's hard, especially when you get busy doing your day-to-day stuff. So how do you identify and then target those ideal clients?
Well, a lot of this information you have at your fingertips, but you just don't really ever look at it, right? So take a deep dive into your top 10 to 20% of your customer base, right? Look at what is your most profitable product or service. Look at the companies that purchase that product or service. Look at the person, the role, right? Is it the CEO? Is it the IT director that purchases from you? Really sort of define who you like working with best, right? And who works best with you. And then you can develop personas. And what is a persona? Well, it's really just building a personality around your ideal client. And you can have different personas. When I worked for a software company, when doing this for them, we had we used animals, right, to be gender neutral, but we had techie tigers, right? And those were the CTOs of an organization, and they tended to be very analytical, ask a lot of questions, needed a lot of details before they could move forward. So sales and marketing knew that when we were approaching techie tigers, we had to give them more information. And they also understood technology lingo. So we didn't have to dumb down the message. But when we were talking to a nervous narwhal, which was really more of a COO or a CEO position, they didn't understand technology lingo. So we mapped out the demographics, titles, and size of companies and things like that we worked best with. And then we also did psychographics. And those are the key critical pieces that are they analytical? Do they understand the language? Do they need additional information? What kind of questions do you typically get from that persona? And by defining your personas of your target clients, then you can craft marketing messages, places on your website, social media content that all target that ideal persona.
Yeah, agreed. Okie doke. So you touched on it a little, but what would you say are the key elements of a successful marketing plan?
An overarching strategy with a goal that is tied to your business strategy. Okay. Tied to your business strategy. What that means is you can have a goal that says, I want to increase social media views by 25%. That's great. But how does that make you more money for your business? And at the end of the day, marketing is here to make you more money for your business.
Yeah.
So have a strategy with a goal that's tied to what your business, and then have some objectives, projects, and deliverables. Here's the key. You got to put it all together in a comprehensive view, because there are elements from leveraging and developing content that you can also use on your website or with account-based marketing. Then you have to have a timeline, because this is what I also love. Everybody starts the new year, right? We're going into the fall. We're going to do a strategic plan. We're going to make this happen. And by the end of January, you've totally, completely fallen off. And you're throwing the plan out the window going, I cannot do this.
Yeah, we're busy. I don't have time for that. Yeah.
I don't have time for this. Who thought this was a good idea? But if you map out the timeline and say, here are the 3 projects I can do in the first quarter. And if I get those done, here are the 3 projects I can do in the second quarter, and map it out over the year. And then look at the resources that you need. Because just by saying, hey, we're going to update the messaging on the website. Okay, well, who's going to do that?
Yeah.
Are you going to do that? Right?
No.
Have you got somebody to do that?
Yes,
and then figure out, and then figure out how much it's going to cost. That to me is just really critical, is putting it all down on a plan and getting deep into the, I'm going to say this and people are going to start in the weeds and I want you to end in the weeds, but who's going to be responsible for taking a project through to completion? Cannot be you. You can't do it all. And then what resources, internal and external, do you need to make it happen? That's really how to make a strategic marketing plan. And I know we're going to talk about this a little bit later. I use a visual 1-page overview representation, and it makes it really easy to sort of look at a glance of what I think I need to do. And we'll drop a link at some point and you guys can download it. It's like, it gives you the overview, but it also tells you sort of how to fill it out. And that might be a way to start.
Okay. And it doesn't have to necessarily be like 3 objectives monthly. It could be 1 objective quarter. It's bandwidth.
Oh, definitely. It's bandwidth. Yes.
Okay. I have a question for you. After implementing a consistent strategic plan, when should you start seeing results? What's realistic expectation? That's a great question. Thanks.
Oh, that is a great question.
Yeah.
Consistent is a key word here. And when should you start seeing results? Well, I think that depends on what you're trying to achieve, right? Mm-hmm. If you are trying to improve social media, what does that look like for you? Because followers can be vanity metrics in a way, right? Really want, complete vanity metrics. But you want to see, are you attracting more visits to your website? Are people downloading more content? Are they interacting with your content? Are they leaving comments? Things like that. Are you engaging with your ideal? Then you can start and look at a trend line to see if that's increasing, if that's what you're trying to do. Mm-hmm. Now, a lot of other things, for instance, if you were doing an account-based marketing plan, right? And you were sending email marketing, which, by the way, email marketing is still for the money, which, by the way, is free.
Yeah.
One of the most effective ways to market. It's said that 91% of consumers check their email on their phone at least once a day. Yeah. I can tell you, I skew that average because I'm doing it every hour.
Well, I am definitely not average. So above the average on that. Yeah, I check it all the time.
Yeah. But if you are seeing higher open rates, higher click-throughs, like you've got to figure out your success metrics when you are mapping out your strategic plan. So it can't just, you're going to say, I want to see a 10% increase in website visits. And that's tied to improving or being consistent with blog content, which is tied to overall clarity of marketing website messaging, which is tied to, do you see what I'm saying? Like,
I do. So how long should that take? How long?
It depends, really, because it could be, you could see some immediate results within 60 days.
Wait. You said immediate results, and then you said 60 days.
Yeah.
I just want to clarify, immediate on any kind of marketing or social media ROI, it's 90 days. That's quick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anything that you do in marketing, and people are like, well, why isn't it happening like next week?
Oh, we've had customers who said, how are we doing after 5 days? I'm like, I don't know. I feel okay. How are you feeling?
I'll give you an example. Mm-hmm. At a company I went to, it was all about inbound leads, right? And so the first year that I went and was helping them out, they had gotten like 62 inbound leads, right?
That's good. Yeah.
That was good. I doubled it in 12 months.
Wow.
But the majority of those inbound leads started coming in after 6 months because it took laying the groundwork and beginning to build momentum before we really started seeing an ROI.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does take a minute. And this is funny to me. We haven't posted for a week. Why don't we have 2,000 followers? And we have had instances where customers like, make this video go viral. Okay.
No.
Your product video with nobody talking in a badly lit kitchen is not going to go viral. I am very sorry. That is not going to go viral.
And do you want it to go viral at the end of the day? Like, do you really? Because sometimes when these things go viral, that is not a positive for your brand or your company.
Yeah. Cool.
Here's what people need to understand about websites or social media or digital advertising or anything you do in marketing. It's you start, you build, you're consistent, and over time, and time does not mean a week, time means 90 days, 180 days, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. That's what time means.
Yeah.
And I don't know why people, I guess social media and our world of instant gratification believe it should be instantaneous. Now you can see some, depending on where you start, right? If your baseline is really low, you might be able to see some pretty nice statistics instantaneously. Yeah. But if you already have sort of a good brand and are putting a consistent message out and you're just tweaking it and actually implementing some strategy, it can take a little bit of time for it to happen.
Talk to me about content marketing. That's a very common term now. What does that mean?
Content can be anything you want it to be, right? Are you a good writer? Write a blog. If you are good speaking, record a podcast or do videos. But whatever you do with content, make sure it's a message that your target customers want or need to hear. Ooh, I love this. So Marcus Sheraton wrote a book called They Ask, You Answer. And when people say to me, I don't know what to say, I mean, I sell widgets, right? Go read that book. Because what Marcus Sheraton said is figure out all of the questions that your customers and potential customers are asking about your business, your products and services, and even your industry, and outside the industry, how the industry is impacted by other factors, and then go answer those questions. There's your content. And you can go on and on and on. Another way to think of content is think about 5 different topics that you can talk about as it pertains to your business and your industry. Mm-hmm. Take a Post-it notepad of paper and start writing down what goes with it. And then you can write a blog, shoot a video, do other things to answer those questions to generate ideas. But here's the key. When you do content, make sure you do it in a way that you can repurpose it. Now, Karen and her team are experts at this. Experts at this. You want anybody to repurpose piece of content, just give it to Karen. She'll slice it and dice it 9 ways to Sunday. Here we go. If you do a video, then you can strip out the audio and use it as a podcast. Mm-hmm. You can transcribe that video and make it a blog post. You can then pull snippets from the video, the audio, and the transcription to generate social media content. Look at all the ways you can leverage one piece of content.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You just have to think through it.
Yeah. Everything needs to be circular. This thing feeds the next thing.
Yeah.
Yep. Totally agree. So, what are another term that people hear are unique selling points? What is that?
Oh, this is so fun. This is what makes you different, right? And what I love is I was doing a messaging workshop with a church yesterday. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, one of the things we're going to talk about is your differentiating factors, right? How are you the same but different? And they're like, we're a church. All churches do the same thing. right? We bring people to Jesus. That's what we do, right?
Yeah.
And I said, no. Every business, whether you're a church or a pool supply company, has something that makes them different. Let me give you an example.
Okay.
I'm going to pick on used car salesmen. So if anyone is watching this or is married to one or has cousin Eddie that is one, I apologize in advance. This is a vast generalization for used car salesmen, okay?
Okay, noted disclaimer. Got it. Okay.
So a used car salesman, people are like, they're pushy. They want to haggle and negotiate on price. I don't want to do all of that. Like used car salesmen are just icky. I don't want to talk to them.
Yeah.
Along comes CarMax, and CarMax says, hey, we understand that you think that used car sales are icky. That's why at CarMax, we put a sticker on the car window that has all the details of the car and the no haggle final price.
Yeah.
We also understand that you don't want to talk to anybody until you are ready. So we're going to stay inside and you wander around, you look at things, and when you're ready, come in and talk to us, right? So we had an icky used car salesman, and CarMax says, here's how we're different, right? Same, we're selling used cars, but different. Then along comes Carvana, and Carvana says, hold my beer, CarMax. You don't even have to get out of your pajamas. You can peruse a website and order a car online, and we will deliver it in your driveway. Again, same, everybody's selling used cars, but different in how they do it. So thinking about how you're the same but different is a way to figure out what your unique selling proposition is.
Okay. Now that I understand unique selling points, but really and truly, how do you stand out from your competition? There's a ton of used car salesmen. There's a ton of social media managers. How do I kind of capitalize on that whole unique proposition business?
Okay, well, you're going to laugh at this. You can either be crazy or consistent. And what that means is you can personify and make your brand and marketing message sort of wild and crazy, right? Think of, have you ever heard of the Savannah Bananas, the baseball team that's like reinventing how baseball is played?
You follow them.
They went the crazy route, right?
Yeah,
and
but
it's working.
Those videos are amazing.
It's amazing. Now, also, there's another company, which you may not have seen on LinkedIn. It's called Lavender. And they're an email marketing company. And they personified lavender. And so they have this really funny character that is their brand. And they're out commenting on different LinkedIn messages and things like that. So you can either sort of go crazy or you can be consistent. And by consistent, I mean you bring clarity to your message. Mm-hmm. You develop a comprehensive, cohesive strategy and plan. And then you go out into the world and you are consistent with that message and that strategy. Yeah. Consistency wins. Yeah. It just does.
But you got to have buy-in from the whole team. It just doesn't work unless all the Savannah Bananas are doing it. Can't just be the pitcher. It's got to be the whole team. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's also where clarifying your message really helps a lot. I think that whenever I do a strategy workshop with a business, at the end of it, inevitably they go, not only did this help us clarify our message for like our website and our marketing collateral, but it really aligned the team so that we're all sort of thinking about what we do in the same way.
Okay. So how do you get that consistent branding, that consistent messaging? Where does that come from?
Well, you got to start with the basics, people. You got to have a set of brand guidelines that everybody uses. Everybody uses. What does that mean? It means everybody uses the same logo, the same messaging, the same fonts, the same colors. Everybody does what you want them to do in leveraging your brand.
Yeah.
Whatever that message is. That means you cannot have clouds in your emails. You need to have everybody have a branded email signature, right? And this sounds like really basic things. There's something called familiarity bias. Have you ever heard of it?
Yeah.
Okay. So being consistent gives you familiarity bias. What does that mean exactly? It means that, let's say, 70% of your target market is not ready to purchase your product at any one given time. They might be 3 months from now or 6 months from now. But if you consistently put out messaging and social media and content, then when they do need your product, familiarity bias takes over, meaning your brand will be top of mind for them and they will go look for you.
I cannot tell you how many times I've had clients tell me, oh, I saw you do this presentation 6 years ago and now we're ready. Or you'll have conversely, you'll have a customer. So we posted for a month and it didn't work. You can't.
Yes. We actually, at a company I was working with, they would send out sort of a year in review email, which I'm not always a huge fan of, but they did it in a really fun way. Okay. So it was fun to look at it. And one of the CEOs kept it, I think it was 18 months, kept it in his inbox because he knew that he needed someone and he liked this company, but he wasn't ready. And literally 18 months later, he called off of this email. But he'd also said, oh, I see your content all the time on LinkedIn. I've read a couple of your blogs. I mean, consistent over time with your messaging is how this works.
Yeah, that whole tortoise and hare thing. So how do you budget for this? How do you know as a small business how much you're supposed to spend on marketing? Like
your brand,
developing ad budget, but what about marketing budget?
Your brand needs a plan. It just does. And you can't, can I tell you, if you're this size company, you need to set aside $5,000 or $25,000 or $100,000 for marketing. I can spend whatever you give me.
Yeah.
Like, write me a check. I'll spend every penny of it.
Yeah. What can you do for this? A lot. Or
a lot.
Sometimes not what you want me to do for that. Yeah. Yes.
But if you have, this goes back to having a plan. And if you look at, hey, one of my goals is to leverage the website, right? For ROI. And I'm going to do that by clarifying the message. I'm going to do that by developing some content, and I'm going to do that by SEO. Well, then you can go, okay, clarifying the message, I need to bring somebody in to help me do that. So let's just say you chose to do a story brand workshop, right? That's about $2,000. Then you need somebody to update the website. So that project might cost you $3,000, right? Mm-hmm. Then I'm going to do content or SEO. Well, do you know what your keywords are? Do you need a technical SEO report? Do you need a total online presence audit to see what your competitors are doing? Spend some time thinking through what you want to achieve, and then we can attribute marketing dollars to go with it, resource money to go with it, so that then you can look at that total and go, oh my God, that's $100,000. We got to gut something.
Yeah.
But if you would spend the time on the front end and figure that out, then you don't get 6 months into the year and say, we've spent $50,000 and I don't even know what we've done. Well, you didn't have a plan. And so you piddled away money and you got no results. Yeah. So you can very easily put together a marketing budget. You can also say, I have $25,000 or $50,000 set aside for marketing. What is the best way for me to use that money? And then develop a plan. A lot of stuff you can do for free.
Oh, yeah. There's a ton of stuff for free.
Yeah.
But so how do you, you're talking about leveraging different assets. How do you leverage like customer reviews, testimonials, promotions? How do you leverage that into your marketing plan?
Well, social proof is critical. I mean, you've got to mitigate the risk of doing business with you, and so people want to see that other people have successfully done business with you and gotten good results.
Yeah.
So that is why Google business reviews are important. If you think about it, we all look at them, we all read them, and Google just throws them right up there front and center. But you can also use those customer testimonials on your website. And I would say, a lot of people have like in the middle of their homepage customer testimonials, and I definitely recommend that. But you should also have them sprinkled throughout your website on other pages that are specific. For instance, Karen and her team and social media, they can put results oriented or other types of testimonials under their services page, right? So using those testimonials in a variety of ways. I've even seen people put them under their email signature line which I thought was a really brilliant use of a testimonial for social proof. Now, everybody don't go run, grab a testimonial and put it under your email signature line. Let's think through this for a second. Mm-hmm. They did it specifically for the service they were trying to sell me, right?
Oh, that's smart.
And I saw it and I went, that is brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it gives me immediate social proof and I can go check out that person's website to validate what they're saying to me in this email. So there's a lot of different ways that you can use testimonials and reviews.
Well, this is a lot for somebody who is like a entrepreneur or a solopreneur doing it on their own. What if this is overwhelming and they need help? How do they get the help they need?
Well, there are a variety of ways. If you want help, I would love to chat with you. So you can connect with me on LinkedIn. That's a great way to get to me. Mm-hmm. I also offer, a 15-minute sort of you talk, and then I'll help you develop what are some ideas for you moving forward. I also do messaging workshops to help you clarify your message. And I love a total online presence audit, which sort of gives you where are you in relation to your competitors and what are some really easy tweaks and wins that you can take to sort of elevate your brand, your marketing, and your message. That's a really great place to start. Yeah. And then, of course, I go all the way to doing strategy assessments where I come in for 60 days and sort of slice and dice your marketing and create an overall plan for you with resources and things like that. A variety of ways.
So they can reach out to you and schedule a 15-minute phone call and you can kind of tell them what they need.
Yep.
You guys, Lisa also has a very cool freebie for you. Lisa, will you tell them about that?
Sure. So as I've sort of been talking about strategy and overview, I feel it's important to have a visual representation. You can look down and go, oh, hey, this makes sense. So I use something that's a one-page strategy overview. And so I've created a download for you guys. And I don't know, it's 19 pages, something like that. I don't know, but don't be overwhelmed by that. It's really piece by piece of answer this question, put it in this block, answer this question, put it in this block. And by the time you get done, you have a one-page visual representation of a marketing strategy that you can implement.
But if you need of course, download Lisa's information. But if you need more hand-holding, if you need more help, that's what she's here for. So we would definitely include the link to her Calendly so you could schedule a call and the link to her cool freebie so you could download that and get to know a little bit more about your own marketing plan. Lisa, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. Is there anything else you want to, parting words for our delighted fans?
Parting words are thank you very much. for having me. This has been a ton of fun. I love it. And to those of you that are out there looking at the end of 2023 and looking into 2024, know that your brand needs a plan.
Yes. Yes.
And if you have a plan, strategy before tactics, and you can do it. You can do hard things.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us for the Social University podcast. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media at Stay Social U. That's the letter U. And we will talk to you next week. Remember, you've got this.